On the 4th of March 2024, Anthropic released a new AI generation tool, introducing Claude 3, which features significant improvements over its predecessors, surpassing GPT and Gemini on multiple benchmarks. This table highlights Claude 3's superiority across various tasks, including graduate-level reasoning, math problem-solving, and reasoning over text. Curious about its capabilities, I explored YouTube for comparisons between different tools such as GPT, Gemini, and Claude. Most videos focused on the paid versions, such as Gemini 1.5 and GPT-4, without much coverage on the free versions of these AI generative tools. In this video, I will compare the free versions of these three major AI tools: Gemini 1.0, which was not upgraded to advanced version, GPT 3.5, and Claude 3 Sonnet, highlighting that this is the second most intelligent model available for free. We will examine their performance across complex reasoning, factual knowledge, creativity, coding capability, and their ability to access files and websites. To ensure unbiased results, I will clear the chat box after each prompt, ensuring that previous questions do not influence the outcomes. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of which AI tool best suits their specific needs, as each tool excels in different areas. Let's get started. The first question we're going to tackle involves complex reasoning. You bought a stock when it was at $100, sold it for $110, bought it back at $120, and sold it again for $140. How much do you make or lose? We're aiming to calculate the profit from these two transactions, expecting a $10 profit from the first and a $20 profit from the second, totaling $30 in profit. Let's see what Gemini gives us. Gemini confirms this calculation, indicating a total profit of $30, which matches our expectation. Gemini also gave us a detailed calculation of how it got the answer. Moving on to GPT 3.5, we pose the same question to see how it would respond. Impressively, GPT 3.5 also came up with a $30 profit, aligning with the previous result. This scenario demonstrates a straightforward application of arithmetic to investment transactions. Regarding the final candidate, Claude 3, it produced identical outcomes, pinpointing a $30 profit from the same prompt. It's worth mentioning that Claude delves deeper into the rationale, offering a more comprehensive explanation on how it arrived at its conclusion. However, it's worth noting that when I initially tested GPT 3.5 for the same question, it mistakenly counted 3 transactions instead of 2, leading to an incorrect total profit. This inconsistency highlights the importance of cross-verifying results with different AI tools or repeating the question to ensure accuracy. Next, we delve into a question designed to test the AI's ability to handle irrelevant information. You received 5 apples yesterday, then you kept 1 apple in the fridge and 2 on the table. You also ate 2 apples last week. How many apples are uneaten now? The addition of apples being eaten last week should not affect the current count, so the answer should still reflect the total number of apples received recently, which is still 5 apples not being eaten. Gemini's interpretation of the apple scenario was significantly flawed, as it mistakenly integrated the apples received last week into its calculation, leading to the incorrect conclusion of 0 uneaten apples. This misinterpretation was rooted in the assumption that the addition of 2 apples from the previous week affected the current count, failing to isolate the events and their impacts accurately. Let's see what would GPT 3.5 respond to this prompt. Similarly, GPT's approach to the question was marred by logical inconsistencies, leading to an inaccurate assessment. It incorrectly subtracted the apples eaten last week from the total received yesterday, revealing a fundamental misunderstanding of the question's temporal dynamics. Let's hope that Claude 3 would get this question correct, as the previous two AI tools failed terribly on this question. Oh no. Claude 3 also gave us a wrong answer, even though the explanation is deeper than the previous two models. From this question itself, all three tools are having difficulty in discerning between relevant and irrelevant information, a critical capability for accurately processing and responding to queries. We are rating the tools with a maximum of 3 stars in each category. So, in complex reasoning, both Gemini 1.0 and Claude 3 would get 2 stars, and GPT 3.5 would get only 1 star because it generated inconsistent outputs for the same question. Now, let's move on to the second category, which is factual knowledge. For these kinds of questions, I'll be asking about historical events, and the AI models should be able to provide the correct answers since these events have already occurred. The first question I want to ask is about when the iPhone 4 was introduced and at which event. This can be verified by a Google search. The correct answer to this question is that the iPhone 4 was first introduced on June 7, 2010, at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference in San Francisco. This allows us to see whether the AI can answer clearly, given that this is a typical Google result. For Gemini, it correctly answered the question which the iPhone 4 was unveiled on June 7, 2010, by Apple at the Worldwide Developers Conference in San Francisco. It even includes a Wikipedia link to show the fact, which is helpful. Checking with GPT 3.5 about the same question, the answer was short and concise, stating that the iPhone 4 was introduced by Apple at WWDC on June 7, 2010, which is good. Moving on to Claude 3, the same question received a correct answer, mentioning Steve Jobs and providing way more information about the event than ChatGPT. You might have heard ChatGPT has becoming lazier these days by providing short answers, which might be true in this case. Given that the first question about an event 14 years ago was correctly answered by every tool, I want to ask a second question about something more recent, which happened in 2020. All the tools still had access to the training data from that year. The second question is, how many times did the U.S. stock market trigger trading halt AKK circuit breaker, where the S&P 500 dropped for more than 7% in a day during COVID-19? The correct answer from a Google search is that the circuit breaker was triggered 4 times in March 2020. This was what Gemini responded. It mentioned at least 3 instances by giving the exact dates in March 2020, indicating that 3 are confirmed, but leaving some uncertainty about additional events. Moving on to ChatGPT. ChatGPT also mentioned the circuit breakers being triggered multiple times and listed the same 3 dates as Gemini, showing a consistency between the two AI tools, yet lacking the complete answer. Will Claude 3 give us the same output? Let's see. This is very interesting. We are getting a different results here. For both Gemini and ChatGPT, they weren't able to list out the date of March 18th, but Claude 3 did. So it provided the most accurate answer, correctly identifying 4 instances as shown from the Google search results. In summary, for factual knowledge, Gemini and ChatGPT each received 2 stars for their partial accuracy, while Claude 3 earns 3 stars for providing the most accurate and complete information. This does not mean that ChatGPT and Gemini are inaccurate, but rather that they did not provide the full information or results. If you liked the video so far, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support will help me to earn more money to feed my cubbies. We will now move on to the third category of our testing, which is creativity. This category doesn't have a definite answer, but I'm interested in seeing how much the AI generation tools can explain and delve deeply into their thought process regarding the questions posed. For creativity, the first question asked was to describe in great detail a minimum viable product that could beat Colgate, an oral care company that could be mass-produced in 6 months for consumers. Essentially, we're looking for a business plan that Gemini has to produce. Gemini introduced a product named Pro Oral, the all-natural biofilm-busting toothpaste. This AI tool provided a concept targeting health-conscious consumers seeking a natural alternative to traditional toothpaste, specifying its unique selling points, which are biofilm disruptions with all natural ingredients and minimal abrasion. The detailed plan even includes the type of packaging, simple recyclable cardboard, and the materials used for both the toothpaste formula and packaging, highlighting a competitive edge in the green trend due to rising demand for natural personal care products. The marketing strategy focuses on care diet consumers with a launch on social media marketing, offering a detailed timeline for the next 6 months and outlining potential growth and challenges. I would say that Gemini has produced a complete business plan, and it passed our test. When asking GPT 3.5 to create an MVP to compete with Colgate within a 6-month time frame, it emphasized the need for careful consideration of market needs and production capabilities. GPT suggested an innovative toothpaste that addresses consumer pain points not fully covered by Colgate or other leading brands, focusing on sustainability, natural ingredients, and advanced oral health benefits. The plan was detailed, similar to Gemini's, but Gemini provided more specifics, making it a more comprehensive business plan compared to GPT's, which was somewhat general. Moving on to Claude 3. It also acknowledged the challenge of competing with Colgate and suggested an eco-friendly toothpaste formulation with a unique selling point addressing specific consumer needs that Colgate might lack. But from here, it didn't explicitly mention what needs the consumers were lacking, which would be a minus point. Other than that, Claude 3's approach was similar to the previous tools in terms of natural plant-derived ingredients and eco-friendly packaging, but didn't specify a detailed timeline for action steps across the months, which was a minor shortfall compared to Gemini. The second question for creativity would be, explain atmospheric pressure as vivid as possible to a 5-year-old kid. Gemini described the Earth as wrapped in a giant invisible blanket called air, emphasizing its weight and how it creates a squeeze called atmospheric pressure, likened to a gentle hug. This is pretty understandable for a kid, and Gemini did the job well. For ChatGPT, it also performed well, explaining it as being inside a big invisible bubble called the atmosphere. This is similar to Gemini's explanation, and I wonder whether they both use the same dataset for training. How would Claude 3 perform given that it has many metrics that outperform the competitors? At first, it mentioned about squishy pillow, but it has too much and too detailed explanation, and I considered it to be potentially complex for a 5-year-old, suggesting it might not hold their attention long enough to grasp the concept. In conclusion, all 3 AI tools demonstrated creativity in their explanations and business plans, each offering unique insights and approaches to the tasks at hand. I will give all 3 of them 3 stars each, because that there's no right or wrong answer in this subjective evaluation. The fourth category we're testing is the coding capability. I'll ask the tools to write codes that can be executed on a compiler, allowing us to see the results. The first question I want to ask is for them to write a complete MATLAB script that differentiates a given question, a concept we learned in high school, and output the results of the derivative when x equals 2. MATLAB is a programming language that is commonly used in university. Before diving into how the AI tools generate the result, I want to know the correct result by copying the equation to a different calculator on the website, pasting it there, and seeing the results after substituting a number inside. We are interested in the result of the derivative when x equals to 2, and the correct result should be 30. The AI tools should write a MATLAB code that computes the correct equation and show 30 as the final answer. Let's go back to Gemini and enter the prompt. It should give us the code that we can directly copy and paste into the compiler without any edits. Now, I am not interested in the output section because they tend not to work well. I just want to copy the code above into my own compiler and run it manually myself. After copying the code to MATLAB and pressing Run, Gemini didn't give the correct output as it is empty, indicating that Gemini failed this coding test. Let me move on to ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT wrote the code that is highly similar to that of Gemini's, and I will copy this code to the compiler to see if it works. Replacing Gemini's code with ChatGPT, I ran the code and saw that the output, the derivative of f of x at x equals 2, is 30, which is the accurate and correct result we wanted. Thus, GPT succeeded where Gemini failed. Moving on to Claude 3, it provided a code and a lengthy explanation. After copying this code into MATLAB and running it, the output indicated that the derivative of the equation at x equals 2 is 30, confirming it's the correct result we were aiming for. Therefore, in this coding test, only Gemini failed the test, while the other two passed it. For the next question, I posed a more challenging coding task: generate a separate HTML, CSS, and JavaScript page that shows Mario jumping up to hit a brick with a mushroom appearing afterwards, and make sure the code is workable. What we ideally wanted is an animation that looks something like this. This complex task aimed to see if the AI tools could generate such detailed output from a single prompt. Gemini generated 3 different codes as what we wanted with some explanation. And we will now copy this code onto an online HTML compiler. All right, let's run this code. What happened was Gemini did not provide any visual output, and I couldn't click on anything here, thus failing this test. Moving on to ChatGPT with the same prompt. For GPT 3.5, it wrote 3 pieces of codes with the actionable explanations that when we click on Mario, he will jump up and hit the brick. Let's see whether it can do as per what it described. Let's run it. GPT's code created a simple scene of blocks. At least there is a visual output. When I clicked on the red block, which represents Mario, it goes up and went back down, indicating a jumping action. Then, one of the brown blocks became green, hinting that there might be a mushroom appearing, but this was not shown in the visual. However, this kind of output is more appealing and promising than Gemini's output. Do you agree with that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Let's do the same for the last candidate, Claude 3. Wow, it did provide a much detailed explanation of what the code does. But let's see whether the code actually works. I've pressed the Run button. It generated a huge purple box. When I clicked on it, nothing happened. I also pressed the up, down, left, right buttons on my keyboard, but there was no interactivity or visual representation of the Mario scene. So I would say Claude failed this test. In terms of coding capability, Gemini would receive 1 star, GPT 3 stars, and Claude 3 2 stars. Finally, our last segment of comparison, ability to access files and websites. We're testing their capabilities with both our local drive and their capacity to read information directly from websites. Starting with Gemini, we noticed it has an upload image feature that supports image files like PNG and JPEG, but not PDF or PowerPoint slides due to its limitation to only analyze images. Moving on to GPT 3.5, there's no option to upload any files, restricting interactions to chat prompts only. However, its paid version, GPT-4, offers the capability to upload various file types. Claude 3, on the other hand, supports both document and image uploads, allowing for a broader range of file types, including PDF and PowerPoint slides. In terms of accessing local files freely, Claude provides a superior choice. Since both Gemini and Claude 3 provide image upload, I want to test their visual capabilities. And of course, GPT 3.5 is not included in this test. For this test, I asked each of them to analyze the thumbnail from our last video, and the prompt is, write out all the words shown in this image and tell me the location of where the words are written. It should be fairly easy to spot the words like lousy, productive, free, and 5 hours to 5 minutes. Let's see whether the AI tools can get them all correct. Gemini provided a very vivid explanation, saying that the image you sent me appears to be a motivational poster with a lion holding a microphone. This is exactly correct, and if you still don't know yet, it is Empowered Liion, the channel you are watching right now. Then Gemini proceeded to answer my question about the locations of the words. It identified the obvious words like lousy, productive, free, 5 hours, and 5 minutes. It said they are written on a wall behind the lion. This is not 100% accurate, as I wanted an answer that is, for example, on the top left, bottom right to be exact. It also identified extra words like sales, internet, some percentages, and even a foreign language that I don't understand, which doesn't appear to be correct as of now because I didn't include them in the image. But let us move on to Claude 3 first. The words identified by Claude 3 were pretty similar, like lousy, written in a white speech bubble that is not fully correct. Then productive, written in a green rectangular box. This isn't a green rectangular box, but a yellow one with green font color. Orml, written inside a pink geometric shape. This one should be wrong, as there should not be words written in the middle of that logo. The space inside is very limited. Free, written on a yellow tag, this is correct. 5 hours to 5 minutes, written in a light blue rectangular box at the bottom, which is not fully correct. In summary, I realized Claude 3 has a hard time recognizing the exact colors used in an image. Now, I want to go back to Gemini, as it actually captured more words that didn't appear in the image, and I want to check what happened. Actually, if I go back to the thumbnail and I set the background to be brighter, you can see the words like sales, internet, team, and also the percentages. So I would say Gemini has better capability to detect subtler details in the image that Claude and our human eye couldn't, and I would like to give Gemini a huge thumbs up for this. The final test for all 3 AI tools is this. I want them to assess the information on the website. All right, this is our prompt. List out top 3 reasons why Apple Vision Pro is so expensive, retrieve information, and quote the exact examples from this website. And then I have given the websites here, a CNBC article that explains why Apple Vision Pro is so expensive, for example, what materials are being used inside the device and so on. Let's proceed with the first candidate, Gemini. It says, I'm a language model and I don't have the capability to help with that. But if you do see, a few moments ago, it started generating some output. But after that, it is being replaced by this sentence. Let us try again because I really did see that Gemini was generating the output, but halfway it was gone. You can see that right now, Gemini gave us the output this time. According to this article, there are 3 main reasons why Apple Vision Pro is so expensive. State-of-the-art Apple Vision Pro includes features like a $120 micro OLED display for each eye. Custom processors, the headset uses an M2 chip and R1 chip, very similar to the ones used in the MacBook Air, and R&D costs. Apple has invested a significant amount of money in research and development for the headset, including filing for 5,000 patents. This is awesome, and we can verify whether Gemini quoted the real information from the website. The details are here. You can see micro OLED, and then you can see this M2 chip, R1 chip, and also there are 5,000 patents in this product. So Gemini is actually accurate with this information, although it actually didn't give an output for the first prompt. Let's move on to ChatGPT. It responded that, I cannot assess specific URLs, but it is giving us some common reasons why it can be more expensive, and the knowledge it has is up to January 2022. It means that GPT 3.5 doesn't even know that Vision Pro exists. The output below are just the common reasons, but not the exact examples that I want from the website itself. Lastly, what would happen to Claude 3? First of all, you can see that Claude 3 does not have internet access and cannot get up-to-date info from the web links. Then the output says, unfortunately, I cannot directly quote or reproduce the copyrighted material from the CNBC website, but I can summarize the top 3 reasons based on the information present on that site. Vision Pro includes cutting-edge hardware like high-resolution displays. Okay, so might be is the micro OLED that the website mentioned. Then, for the research and development cost, Apple has reportedly invested billions of dollars and millions into research and developing Vision Pro's advanced mixed reality technology. Now, this one doesn't really give us the specific examples that we want, as the statement is too general. Limited initial production volumes can be a factor for a new and complex product like Vision Pro. Apple's initial production volumes are likely to be relatively low. I would say that for Claude 3, it doesn't really give us specific examples from the link itself. It is vague and probably blurring the actual fact presented on the website itself. In short, for ability to access files and websites, Gemini could only access images and websites, but it did a very good job with its capabilities. For GPT 3.5, it is none. For Claude 3, it could access files and images, but not websites. All right, let's dive right back into where we've been exploring the fascinating world of AI tools, particularly focusing on what you get with the free tiers. If you need to analyze images and access websites, Gemini really stands out as I've shown you earlier. Now, if you're on the hunt for accurate facts, Claude 3 is your go-to. It's like having a fact-checker right in your pocket, ensuring you get the most accurate information available. Just a heads up, though. The free tier of Claude 3 comes with quite a restrictive usage limit. I often find myself hitting the cap after just about 10 messages, leaving me in a bit of a lurch until the quota resets after several hours. When it comes to programming support, ChatGPT is a standout, especially for its prowess in understanding and generating code. But here's a little catch. The GPT 3.5 version is a bit limited as it can't access files and websites directly. But don't let that deter you. If accessing files and browsing the web is a must for your coding projects, GPT-4 is like unlocking a new level of power, making it an even stronger ally than Gemini in some cases. In my first video, I showed you how to leverage GPT-4's incredible abilities to summarize documents, videos, and websites in just minutes. And how about generating an editable mind map in mere seconds? That's the kind of tool that can be a game changer, whether you're a student drowning in assignments or a professional swamped with reports. This is the kind of tech that can truly make a difference in how you work and learn. And if you missed that video or just need a refresher, now's the perfect time to check it out. Just click the video showing up on your screen right now, and let's take your productivity to the next level together. See you there.